This season on WHOW, the big 1520 daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus, streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app. Plus, hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10. All brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick, Clinton Community YMCA, Covenant Animal Clinic, and Jason France, your State Farm insurance agent in Clinton.
If you're looking for local hunting and fishing information, then join us for Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, Sundays at 8 a.m. here on WHOW. Every weekend, we'll offer detailed local fishing reports from professional guides. We'll swap stories with local celebrity sportsmen, and I'll invite you to share your stories as well. Central Illinois Outdoors with Jared White, every Sunday morning at 8 on all WHOW platforms and on demand at CentralIllinoisOutdoors.com. Brought to you by Bob Ridings in Pana and the Clinton, Illinois Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock is news time on this Monday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Beacon Insurance agent in Clinton. Thanksgiving brings together family and friends, and local authorities are reminding to be safe during this time of celebration as college students return home, some for perhaps the first time. The night before Thanksgiving is one of the busiest at our local liquor establishments. Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers is imploring anyone out Wednesday night to be safe.
Thanksgiving coming around the corner, you know, one of our biggest celebratory holidays that we have, especially here locally. The Wednesday night before Thanksgiving seems to be a huge celebration time, you know, and I attribute that to a lot of the kids at college. It might be the first time that they've come home. Those who have left the area for college might be their first return home trip. A lot of reunions of former classmates and things like that, and families getting together, you know, that evening before Thanksgiving. So, you know, I honestly relate it to New Year's Eve almost. I think our local liquor establishments would tell you that the day before Thanksgiving or the night before Thanksgiving is one of their busiest nights of the year. Right. So with that, you know, let's back up a little bit and just talk simply about the general holiday travel. Not only are we getting into holiday travel, but we do have that potential for bad weather, you know, whether it's rain, snow, ice, anything of that nature, but also fog and things. You know, we've had a few mornings here recently, extremely foggy. Yeah. So when we talk about the amount of traffic that's going to be on the roadway that week, you know, we certainly need to talk about holiday travel and the increase in traffic, the college students returning, the people shopping. You know, we want to allow extra time for that travel, especially on those long trips. Make sure that your car's maintenance is up to date and know the numbers for your roadside assistance or know numbers for those emergency contacts that you have. Plan your route ahead, and most importantly, let someone know where you're going and when you expect to be there, so that if you are a long overdue motorist or something like that, they know to be looking out for you. Again, paramount to let someone know what your plans are for travel and when you expect to be there and your route of travel.
If you're going to be out and about shopping Friday, Chief Flowers says you want to do simple things like be mindful of your surroundings, know where you parked your vehicle, and carry a debit or credit card if possible.
I mean, as we get through Thanksgiving, you know, the hustle and bustle and the excitement of Black Friday shopping, you know, but you know, with Black Friday shopping, there's still those deals. There's still that race out to get that deal, you know, and we want to be mindful of our safety when it comes to shopping. And, you know, when we talk about going to these large shopping centers, whether it's a mall or whatever it is, you know, be aware of your surroundings, look for suspicious persons when you're in that area. And shopping can be exciting, but it's also easily distracting. So stay alert, you know, stay focused and be aware of your surroundings. Situational awareness is paramount there. You know, remember where you parked your car, you know, these large shopping centers and stuff. Remember what store you entered, you know, and where you parked from that store. You know, that's extremely important. We talk about when you're leaving the stores or the shopping center at the end of the day or at the end of your experience, making sure that you can, before you walk outside, that you're prepared to get in your car. You don't want to be standing out in the middle of a parking lot with bags on each arm, looking for your purse, looking for your keys, whatever, fumbling around. You want to be prepared for that before you ever exit the store and before you ever enter an isolated area. So make sure that, obviously make sure that you know where you parked. And in today's day, you can set that on your phone. You can set your locations and things.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, back to old school, make sure you remember where you parked. Before you exit that, make sure that you've got your car keys handy, that you know exactly you're going to make a direct line to your car. You're going to have that car open, put your stuff in it, get in it, and lock your doors and be ready to leave. Again, you don't want to set yourself up to be a sitting duck or a victim to somebody who may be lurking out in the parking lot. Obviously, if shopping late in the day or after dark, try to park in an area that's well lit. Again, it's all about safety. So we certainly recommend that you shop in pairs or shop in groups. Take a friend or a family member shopping with you. There's something to be said for safety in numbers. Again, avoid carrying large amounts of cash. Today, so much of it is paid for in plastic, and we recommend that, not having a large amount of cash on you. Don't leave things in your car. You don't want to leave your phones and your purses and things of that nature in your car where they're visible. Likewise, when you're going from one place to the other, don't leave that merchandise accessible to plain view. Again, avoid everything you can to make yourself a target. That's it as far as our shopping tips. Again, shop in numbers, remember where you parked, be prepared, know what you're doing. And back to the travel thing, let someone else know where you intend to go,
right.
And your time frame and things of that nature. Again, we can't stress enough safety in numbers, whether it's physically safety in numbers of someone shopping with you or just somebody being aware of where you're at.
Definitely. Winter weather isn't out of the question wherever you may be traveling this time of the year, so a winter emergency kit in your vehicle is important. She Flowers recommends being dressed appropriately if you're traveling through cold weather as well. Preparing a Thanksgiving meal for some is second nature and an enjoyable labor of love, but for others, especially first-time hosts or food preparers, it may be a bit overwhelming. A University of Illinois Extension nutrition educator is here, hoping some tips she has today may make things a bit simpler. Caitlin Mellendorf says there are 4 keys you want to remember when preparing your Thanksgiving feast, and those are clean, separate, cook, and chill.
Think about how you're going to be presenting food and doing it safely. So the general kind of 4-part breakdown is clean, separate, cook, and chill. So cleaning is about things such as hand washing, making sure that you're washing produce before you chop into it. The separate is making sure that products that are considered ready to eat. So if you've got your potato salad that's ready to go, you've got your mac and cheese that's ready to go, you've got balsamic Brussels sprouts that are ready to go, you're making sure that all those recipes are keeping separate from things that still need to be cooked, particularly for raw protein. So things like you're working on that turkey, you're working on that ham, making sure that we're separating those things. So that's separate cutting boards, that's separate knives for our raw foods versus our cooked foods, because if we are mixing and matching those, we likely are contaminating one side of the cutting board or one side of the knife. And so that is a great way to transfer, foodborne illness, and we don't want that. So making sure we're using separate items for our cooked and our raw foods. The cook is just taking temperatures, so making sure that you have a food thermometer that's functioning. I know I need to replace my digital one. It's not working well. So I've got it's not really analog and thermometer roll, but I've got a standard dial thermometer as my backup that works. It just is a little bit slower than my digital one. So making sure that you're taking food temperatures. I always like to send people to foodsafety.gov. It will have all the different listings for different food temperatures. And then the last one is, so chill is about having, if you have leftover food that you plan to save, making sure that you are doing that in a safe manner. So primarily this is for leftover foods that are going to be refrigerated. When a food is coming out of a hot cooking method, so out of the oven, out of your slow cooker, off of your stove, once it's taken off that heat, we are getting 2 hours between when we need to, we can start eating on it, but once it comes off of its heat source, you get 2 hours to then move it back into some type of cold storage if you want to use those as leftovers.
If you're doing a potluck-style meal, you'll want to be mindful of the 2-hour window you have to preserve all that food. Mellendorf encourages all food preparers to have a thermometer handy.
If you're planning to set up a buffet for your holidays and you're just going to leave things out for several hours, you can always use equipment like ice, or if you want to use things like slow cookers to keep things warm, you can do that, and you would get longer than 2 hours. But if things are going to sit out at room temperature, 2 hours is that rough time if you want to save it for leftovers. If you're not super concerned about saving leftover dips or leftover appetizers, then you can let those go up to 4 hours at room temperature, as long as you don't plan to save them. So again, there's a lot of nuance to the food safety and what you plan to do with it. So I'm going to send everybody to foodsafety.gov for more of those details. If you're not used to doing things like food temperatures, it's definitely easier once you get into a rhythm. So make sure that you have a food thermometer on hand. Make sure that it's working well. Maybe it needs new battery. If it's a digital one, you can always calibrate them. We've got resources to help people calibrate with just ice water. So that's just the thing, to get into the habit of taking temperatures any time of year, so that when it comes to the holidays, especially when you're wanting to make sure that your guests are not going to get sick, you're already in that habit of taking food temperatures.
Extension.illinois.edu/food has plenty of resources for those preparing a holiday feast this week, or just simply wanting to learn more about food preparation in general. After a bitterly cold weekend in central Illinois, temperatures are expected to return to normal as we get set for Thanksgiving this week. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln indicates temperatures should get into the 50s at points this week as we come out of the cold snap today.
Yeah, the 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us pretty much to the end of November, has above normal temperatures in there, and equal chances of above or below normal precipitation. But below normal is in west central Illinois, so it's trending towards the drier side of things. So we should see a warming trend in there, and then extending beyond that. I said the 3 to 4 week outlook is the last week of November and the first week of December has a solid above normal temperature, and then below normal precipitation. So it looks like late November, early December probably will be some of those 50s in there, and pretty nice conditions as we head into early December. For November, we generally see highs in the low to mid 50s by the end of the month. It's the average high is right around 50. We're trending down, to have average highs in the 40s, for the December month, and then in the upper 30s for January.
Getting into December next week, things are going to stay in the above average trend. Shimon indicates starting in December, things will be dry as winter rolls along. It will grow increasingly more wet.
Well, looks like the outlook for December is going to be starting out warmer than normal, and I think overall, the month should stay at or slightly above normal in general when you're looking at the seasonal outlook. I know December was always initially being depicted as an above normal side of the winter, 3 months of winter, December, January, February. So hopefully that holds true, because the signal was looking like January, February trending, colder than normal. That's the general picture that we're expecting as we look forward here into the winter season. December, January, February is showing precip to be slightly above normal, with the highest signal being, the Great Lakes, but it extends down into Illinois. So with that wintry period showing wetter than normal, that'll probably bode towards the January, February timeframe of getting a little bit more wintry precipitation as we head into the heart of winter. Expect some work for your shovels and snow blowers as we head through middle to late January and February,
right,
which is typical winter kind of when you think about when the coldest air is and the coldest temperatures for our particular area. So
La Nina is expected to weaken as the winter goes along. Shimon says that's creating some uncertainty in the outlooks for the late winter and early spring. We'll hear more from Shimon later this week on that on Regional Radio News. News time is 22 minutes after the hour on this Monday. Plenty more to get to coming your way on the morning show.
Are you a friend of agriculture? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. We're giving a $500 Friends of Ag discount to anyone that orders a new Chevrolet or Buick to be built just for you this month. Are you a friend of Ag? You are if you're a member of any ag organization employed by any ag-related business, including research, inputs, manufacturing, sales, and marketing, and of course, ag education. Come in, order yours today. BombChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. News time is 23 minutes after the hour on this Monday. Illinois House lawmakers are looking at an increase in school violence. At the latest hearing on the House Public Safety and Violence Prevention Task Force, legislators heard from teachers groups about the growing number of severe student behavioral problems. Cheyenne Shively with the Illinois Education Association read testimonials from educators about being kicked, bitten, screamed at, and threatened by students.
Last week, a student made threats to a teacher and said he is conducting a survey with other students to figure out which teacher he should kill. A coworker reported this incident to the principal and other management at the district. Nothing has been done, and the student is back in class.
Representative LaShawn Ford of Chicago offered this idea.
One of the things that I was thinking that we need to have a dual degree in Illinois where teachers can get their BS as well as a social worker's degree. I don't know what teachers think about it. They don't have to take it, but I think it might be a good idea since there's a shortage of social workers in our schools.
Shively says teachers are looking for more support from school administrators, consequences for violent behavior, mental health support, and social workers on staff. Illinois Secretary of State Jesse White's office is reminding the public the extension on driver's license and state ID expiration dates ends soon. Drivers were given more time to get their license renewed during the pandemic, but that extension is coming to an end on December 1st. Secretary of State spokesperson Henry Happ says they have tried to alert people about their options.
We've seen an uptick throughout this process of people renewing because we've put out a number of alerts when we extended the expiration, and throughout this process, we've continued to remind people that they can renew online if they're eligible.
Hapt adds they have been reaching out to those eligible to renew online.
Secretary White has also implemented appointments at 30 specific facilities, but a number of our facilities continue to serve walk-ins as well, particularly smaller rural area facilities.
For more information and to see if your local driver's services facility takes appointments, visit the website ilsos.gov. The Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs is launching the annual Operation Rising Spirit campaign. The effort encourages the public to write to the residents of state veterans homes in Anna, Chicago, LaSalle, Montino, and Quincy, says agency director Terry Prince.
We've asked community members just to take a few minutes to write a little letter or a Christmas card to veterans in our nursing homes that says, hey, we're thinking about you and we appreciate your service. So I think veterans would appreciate that. And certainly it's something easy that the community can do.
You can send your letters to the department's Springfield office or electronically.
It's as simple as going to our website, and we have a drop-down link on the IDVA website that links them right to the form, and they can fill it out right there, and it has an address where they can send the actual card to the organization, and it can really address to any veteran.
People can also email a vet on the agency's website, illinois.gov/veterans. Cases of the flu are rising, and the American Red Cross is urging blood and platelet donors to help with a potential shortage over the holidays. A seasonal illness increase, the number of healthy donors tends to decrease. Here's a Red Cross spokesperson, Brian Williamson.
Possibly leave the blood supply vulnerable there to what may end up being a shortage over the holidays. So really what we're just hoping to have folks do is go ahead, make that appointment to donate blood, and make sure that we can keep that supply where it needs to be as we head into the winter season. But we definitely encourage, of course, blood donors of all types to come in, especially those, though, for example, with type O blood. Also, if you are getting platelets, these are things that can be done here now to help bolster the blood supply.
According to the CDC, many states around the U.S. are already experiencing a spike in flu cases this season. Donate by visiting redcrossblood.org. Temperatures are dropping below freezing, which could cause problems in your home, including water damage from frozen and burst pipes. Cold weather arrived last week, so a spokesperson with Illinois American Water is offering tips to prepare your pipes for the winter. Karen Cotton says the best precaution to take is now before the worst of the cold weather happens.
Customers can take steps like identifying their home's freezing points. You can check your home for pipes in areas that may be prone to freezing, such as crawl spaces, unheated rooms, basements, garages, and exterior walls.
Cotton says to make sure everyone at home knows where the main water shutoff valve is, make sure sprinkler and irrigation systems attached to the home are shut off, and detach your garden hose from the outside spigot. More tips on guarding against winter water pipe damage are available at IllinoisAMwater.com. News time this morning is 28 minutes after 7 o'clock. Coverage brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. As we come up on 7:30 on this Monday morning, a look at that local weather forecast comes our way. We get a look at network news, network sports, and local sports. Clinton High School boys basketball opens its season tonight under the direction of Hall of Fame basketball coach Vic Binkley, who comes to Clinton after several decades at Warrensburg Latham High School. In fact, it's been since the 80s that Coach Binkley has coached someone other than his Warrensburg Latham Cardinals, and he comes to joins the Clinton High School basketball staff and leads them into the season opener tonight at the Mount Pulaski Thanksgiving Tournament. Also in sports this morning, Illinois in action yesterday opposite Virginia in Las Vegas. Recaps of that coming up on WHOW.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. At least 56 people are now dead after an earthquake hit Indonesia's main island of Java, and authorities say about 700 others were wounded in that quake, which damaged dozens of buildings and sent residents fleeing into the streets for safety. Police in Moscow, Idaho, have not yet identified a suspect or found a weapon more than a week after the murders of 4 college students. North Korea's foreign minister is slamming the United Nations chief for condemning the North's recent intercontinental ballistic missile test. The official calls Antonio Guterres a puppet of the United States. No tweets yet from Donald Trump after Twitter reinstated his social media account over the weekend. The former president has said that he will be relying on his own platform, Truth Social. This is SRN News.
With SRN Sports, I'm Ron DeRoster, and the NFL scoreboard from yesterday. The Lions beat the Giants 31-18. Cowboys rout the Vikings 40-3 in Minnesota. Ravens beat the Panthers 13-3. It was the Commanders 23, the Texans 10. The Raiders over the Broncos 22-16 in overtime. Steelers fall to the Bengals 37-30. The Chiefs beat the Chargers Sunday night 30-27. Travis Kelce with 3 touchdowns, the game winner with just 31 seconds left on the clock. Falcons beat the Bears 27-24. The Eagles come from 10 down to beat the Colts 17-16. Patriots outlast the Jets 10-3. The Bills 31-23 over the Browns. And the Saints beat the Rams 27-20. Tonight, it's the 49ers at the Cardinals. Drawing the bye this week were the Dolphins, the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, and the Jaguars. This is SRN Sports. In the NBA, the Suns beat the Knicks 116-95. It was the Wizards edging the Hornets 106-102. Pistons fall to the Kings 137-129. The Nets down the Grizzlies 127-115. Cavaliers over the Heat 113-87. Warriors get by the Rockets 127-120. The Nuggets edge the Mavericks 98-97. And the Lakers run by the Spurs 123-92. Just 2 games in the NHL. Blue Jackets 5-3 over the Panthers. Same score, Pens over the Blackhawks. College football, Georgia remains atop the college football poll this week with Ohio State 2 and Michigan 3rd and TCU at number 4. Southern California moved into the top 5 for the first time in 5 years. LSU stays at number 6. Clemson moves up 2 spots to number 7. Alabama holds at 8th. Tennessee drops 4 spots to number 9. And Oregon rounds out the top 10. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. The Clinton High School boys basketball team opens the 2022-23 season tonight with plenty of optimism, and for good reason. Tonight marks the first time since the 80s Coach Vic Binkley leads a basketball team other than Warrensburg Latham. Coach Binkley comes to Clinton after stepping down at Clinton's Central Illinois Conference rival last year and is looking forward to the fresh starts.
You know, it's really been great for me. I'm very optimistic, and, you know, I came into a good group of young men. They work very hard, and they're very polite, and they want to win. And it's, you know, that's something that for a coach to have is pretty special.
Being at Warrensburg Latham last year, Coach Binkley indicates his team would often follow Clinton in its CIC schedule, so obviously seeing them in person at the CIC tournament, but also on film, Coach Binkley is optimistic about what this team can do.
Well, I watched some tapes from last year when we played Clinton, and it seemed like we always, when we were at a game scouting someone, it seemed like Clinton was playing before us. And we always got to see them. You know, I got to watch Clinton beat St. Teresa in the CIC tournament. It was a great game for Clinton. So I knew they had some ability, and they just, you know, they were very young. And, you know, we're still, I'd say, young. We have a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors. We only have 3 seniors overall. But we're still, you know, we're playing a freshman. So we're still young, but they're developing. And what they've learned from last year is going to help them for this year.
The Maroons struggled at times to find consistency on offense last season, and while still a young team, Coach Binkley does not want this group to be gun-shy with its shot selection this season.
Yeah, I think just being disciplined. You know, we don't get on them for taking a bad shot, but we'll remind them. And we try to enforce that, you know. I don't know how many times in practice I'll say, hey, you know, that wasn't a bad shot, but I think we can do better. And that kind of enforces them to say, hey, you know, because we don't want to convince them not to shoot because they're very good shooters, but it's when they shoot. And so just developing that discipline will help them mature. You know, I try to do what's right. We're representing Clinton High School. We tell the kids that they're going to do things the right way, and very seldom get a technical, unless I think it's good for the team. But you know, we want to get out there and get the job done, and sometimes you got to get on a kid, but you also have different kids today.
Yeah.
You know, some kids can take it, you know, and some kids can't. And you got to know that. I mean, you don't want to degrade them so much that they're not playing their best.
Yeah.
And that's my job, is to get them to play at the top of their game. And, you know, so far it's worked over the years. You know, if I get on somebody, I'm going to find a way to put my arm around them or, you know, say, hey, it's okay, and let's move on. But and I think they're learning that in practice. You know, we joke around a lot, we have fun, but they also know, hey, it's game time, boys. We only have 2 more days of practice before we open up Monday.
Coach Binkley comes to Clinton with the message it is Clinton's turn to be at the top of the Central Illinois Conference, and believes this team this year could do that. He is thankful for the administration at Clinton High School for being there for him at a difficult time when he was down and discouraged. The Maroons are at the Bill Rux Memorial Thanksgiving Tournament in Mount Pulaski this week. They open things tonight, taking on Edinburgh at 5 o'clock. They'll battle Illini Central tomorrow night at 5. Hear that game right here on WHOW and all our digital platforms. The Maroons continue play Wednesday. Then Coach Binkley meets his former team, Warrensburg Latham, for the first time Friday night at 8 o'clock. Clinton does not host its first home game until Tuesday, December 6th against Mount Pulaski at 7:30. Under most circumstances, Virginia would have celebrated its tournament victory Sunday and carried the good feelings back to Charlottesville. But after the 16th-ranked Cavaliers used a late 13-point deficit a 13-point run to defeat number 19 Illinois 70-61 to win the Continental Tire main event in Las Vegas, Coach Tony Bennett knew the overnight trip back home would be far from joyous. With the campus still grieving the shooting deaths of 3 football players, the Cavaliers beat number 5 Baylor and Illinois to earn the tournament trophy. The game was played exactly a week after football players Lavelle Davis Jr., Devin Chandler, and Deshaun Perry were fatally shot after a field trip to see a play in Washington. 2 others were wounded. Virginia players wore shirts to honor those killed and locked arms in tribute before the game. Jaden Epps had 14 points. Colton Hawkins scored 10 for Illinois. The 4-0 Cavaliers trailed 58-56 with 3.5 minutes left when they broke away from the 4-1 Illini. The game was close throughout, and neither team pulled away until Virginia's late run. Both teams' top scorers from Friday's games were largely held in check. Virginia's Armand Franklin had 26 against Baylor, but just 9 against Illinois. Terrence Shannon Jr. had 9 points after getting 29 against UCLA and went 8 of 9 from 3. Shannon made just 1 of 5 from distance on Sunday. Illinois hosts Lindenwood of the Ohio Valley Conference on Friday. Young Ho Koo's 53-yard field goal gave Atlanta the lead with less than 2 minutes to play as the Falcons overcame another impressive game from Chicago's Justin Fields to beat the Bears 27-24 Sunday. Fields ran for 85 yards with a touchdown despite suffering a left shoulder injury on the Bears' final possession. Fields' pass for David Montgomery was intercepted by Falcons safety Jalen Hawkins with 1:07 to play, and a 26-yard run by rookie Tyler Algier allowed the Falcons, who ran for 149 yards, to wind down the clock. Fields completed 14 of 21 passes for 153 yards with a touchdown and a pick. The Bears suffered their 4th straight loss. They have lost 6 of 7 to drop to 3-8. Each quarterback had the most carries for each team. Marcus Mariota could not match Fields' dual threat production, but he ran and threw for touchdowns for the 5-6 Falcons, who pulled within 1/2 game of the NFC South leading Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are on a bye this week. Atlanta running back Cordarrelle Patterson, who played for the Bears for 2 years before signing with the Falcons in 2021, set an NFL record with his 9th career kickoff return for touchdown. His 103-yard return in the second broke a tie with Josh Cribbs and Leon Washington for the mark. Patterson's lost fumble after a 19-yard run set up Fields' 4-yard scoring run that gave Chicago a 17-7 lead. Patterson atoned for the fumble with his record-breaking return. Mariota had 13 carries for 25 yards, including a 10-yard scoring run for a 24-17 lead in the third quarter. He threw for 131 yards, including a 2-yard touchdown pass to Drake London, whose 40-yard field goal on the final play of the first half tied it at 17. The Bears visit the Jets next Sunday. Sidney Crosby had a goal and 3 assists as the Penguins topped the Blackhawks 5-3 Sunday for their 3rd straight win. Evgeny Malkin scored his 1,000th NHL goal, helping Pittsburgh close out a 3-0 road trip after a 3-0 win at Winnipeg Saturday night. Richard Rackle had a goal and an assist. Brooke McGinn scored for the Penguins. Pittsburgh had a 3-2 lead before Philip Karashev tied it for Chicago with a third-period shot from the corner behind the goal, but Crosby responded for the Penguins with 3:14 left, scoring his 10th of the season on a nice move in front. Crosby, who has 4 goals and 7 assists in his last 4 games, tapped the puck over to Jeff Carter for an empty netter in the final seconds. Patrick Kane and Gujar Kara had goals for Chicago in their 4th straight loss. Chicago lost 6-1 at Boston Saturday and responded with 2 goals in the final 10:21 of the first period. First, Jason Dickinson set up Kara's 2nd of the season. Then Kane beat Casey DeSmith off a slick feed from Jonathan Taves. It was Kane's first goal since October 27th against Edmonton and his third of the season, stopping a 10-game drought. The Blackhawks are at Dallas Wednesday night. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Highs level off around 48 today under mainly sunny skies, southwesterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows around 25, 50 tomorrow, sunny skies and calm. Mid-50s Wednesday, low 50s Thursday with a chance for scattered showers. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently, it's 28.
Hello again, everyone. This is Stu Ellis, swinging open the farm gate for you once again today. Did you hear the loud boom last week? Well, there was a loud boom, and more than 100 million bushels of soybeans were shipped out the door, booked for overseas processors, the largest volume for the week on record, and a week that's in the middle of the traditional soybean export season. Actually, it was 111.3 million bushels booked for exports, compared to 26.7 million the prior week. China, well, bought some, not all. Less than half the total of sales, 56.7 million, went to China. That would have been significant alone. But compare the data to what's been transpiring in the export market recently. And last week's soybean export sales, well, nothing to compare to it. Mexico has been on a rip and a tear to buy U.S. corn in recent weeks.